Basically, we're middlemen between two different clients, if you think about it. Right.
Yeah, but this is asset management. This is what you're talking about of asset management.
Yeah, that's your job.
Right.
But when people say, well, how do you like the question I got today was, what red flags do you see? It's like, well, that's your job. It's to catch red flags before they become red flags. You want to catch wait, let's change this before our occupancy drops to 70, or let's do this.
Right.
That's our role. Those are the good syndicator, sponsor, asset manager, whatever. Correct. That's the difference between the good ones and the bad. The bad ones just sit back and take money from people and charge fees.
And then the mediocre ones are just reactive. Yes. And then the good ones like us are proactive, talking about things like this. Like, let's do a marketing campaign that talks about tax returns, or knowing that there is a frequency where this is the time everybody's moving. Let's get in front.
We said all the time, even on our Spring Park Place, our deals, it's like, we need renovated units for this time because we know we're going to get an influx. So let's not wait till people start knocking on the doors. Yeah. Let's make sure it's done so when they knock on the doors, we can accommodate it. But that's understanding all of it.
And capturing your some of the residents that come in and maybe decided not to rent, or that we're saying, hey, I'm only moving in 2 months from now, but having some sort of lead collector that you can then go and do email blast to them or text messaging and just say, hey, did you ever move in?
Yep.
Like, there's that kind of proactivity that you can use all the technological tools out there.
That's something that I think I'm curious how it's going to go, because you see it a lot in Class A stuff where it's like social media ads, text messaging, like automated follow-up emails. Like, I know enough that I'll sign up for stuff and I can recognize like whether it's a person, automated or whatever. Where
it's never a person.
There are some. Like I signed up for 3 in Jackson when we were doing a comp, and like I could tell 2 were automated because it was like clockwork. It was at like 8 a.m. and it was just like clearly whatever. But it was great. There was one property, they sent out 10 emails in a week and a half. And I was like, wow, that's phenomenal. And then there was one, I got 1 follow-up email, but I was like, this is clearly a person just the way it was. So I think it'll be really interesting to see how that technology continues to funnel down into some of the leasing stuff, because I think a lot of that is...
We tell our leasing managers to, when appointments come in and booked on the calendar, the day before and then the day of, they call up, make sure they're coming, and then text message follow-ups. To get them. That's how you convert to shows more.
Yeah, the trickle down from the A stuff that's why the C class space and the B class space sort of fails. Like you don't get the A trickle down because people take that approach like, oh, no, this is not going to work here, and not necessarily us, but at the management level. And it's like that's like
you can deploy this at the B and C class asset level.
I think it would, and I don't know if we're doing it in certain cases or not, but like that's where that's my biggest complaint daily is it's like I know they're not doing what they should be doing, but there's no way I can monitor it 100%.
Well, it's just being thoughtful about, and we're not perfect at it, but we're pushing constantly with thoughtfulness to improve on it.
Well, yeah. What did we say the other day on last Wednesday on the call? I said, if you guys need us internally in our office to help with the leads, we are here. That's our job. I'm not saying you're not doing it, but I'm saying you're not doing it. I'm saying let us help you.
Right.
And like what I say in the car the other day, I said, I want to spot test them. I'm going to post 2 ads on Craigslist.
Totally.
See how many calls I get.
Call some of the ones that didn't convert to leases and say, why didn't you end up going with us?
Yes.
And just do it's customer service. And it's like, and surveys like, oh, well, the tour wasn't really all that awesome. And you're like, really? Oh. Yes, now let's work on that part. Let's work on the tour, salesmanship.
Well, we're selling a deal, and the broker that's selling our deal, I have pictures. He's like, look, there was a U-Haul parked in the middle of the grass. And he's like, this clearly is someone that was moving and did not want to walk, and it was raining, so now we have tire tracks through the front lawn on a deal we're trying to sell.
Yeah.
So I get the picture, and I call the manager. I'm like, the fuck is this? She's like, I didn't even notice that. I'm like...
Nothing says community like mud tracks.
But he would send me pictures of shit like that. And I sit there like, you got to be kidding me. But that's the stuff that you're never going to have control over unless you have someone physically there, because you get called and follow up and then you call your man. You're like, wait a second, you guys never called this person back. And stuff will fall through the cracks. It's just if it's ongoing every single month, then something's got to change.
Yeah, no, I think it's tough, right? Because you also sit here up in an office in New York and you're like, why isn't everything getting done perfectly every time in our properties in there? So it's like, you always try to balance okay, how high of an expectation can you realistically have, right? Like how much can our managers actually do on a day-to-day basis. But also, yeah, by the way, they've also, got to run the property as well.
Well, you just have to be, we have to be self-aware too and ask ourselves, did we explain it correctly to them?
Yeah, correct.
Like, are we just being jerks and we just like delegated it like a jerk and was like we said it quickly, we thought they understood, they didn't really, and then they didn't do it. So we have to just be self-aware and be like, maybe they need a little more guidance. But when you feel like guidance has been given correctly, I mean, then you have to be harsh. Like, we have explained this, you have a standard operating procedure. It should be pretty easy to follow, like infractions or whatever. Like, this isn't going to work out if it keeps on happening.